Total recapped here. Today we will be going through the events of a 2017 American superhero film, Logan. Now let's get right into the movie. Logan, better known as Wolverine, wakes up in a limo to find some thugs trying to steal its wheels. He calmly tries to negotiate, but a man blasts him with a shotgun. Although he is in immense pain, Logan gets up thanks to the regeneration factor due to the adamantium in his body and unleashes his claws, preparing to fight out of the situation. He's no longer the fighter that he used to be, and his healing factor has deteriorated immensely, putting him at a disadvantage against the thugs. After quite the struggle, he manages to murder almost everyone brutally, and the rest of the thugs get away. Logan is covered in blood and decides to pull over at a motel for a change of clothes. He has aged a lot since the events with X-Men, and his healing factor is slowly starting to fail. He now goes by his birth name of James Howlett and works as a chauffeur, making a living out of driving the limo. Logan waits for a client at a funeral when suddenly a Mexican woman named Gabriella approaches him and asks him for his help, claiming to know his real identity, but Logan puts her off and leaves with his client. One morning he pulls up at a hospital and a man named Donald Pierce helps him inside his limo. He tells Logan that he knows about his incident with the thugs and that he is taking care of Charles Xavier outside the border. When Logan asks what he wants, Pierce replies that he wants to know where Gabriella is, the woman who approached Logan at the funeral. Logan tells him that he doesn't know any woman who goes by Gabriella, and Pierce hands him over his card if he needs to contact him. The card reads that Donald is head of security at Alkali Transigen, a biotechnological corporation that infuriates Logan, and he drives off to meet Charles. He stops by an abandoned plant where he and Caliban, a fellow mutant, take care of Charles together. Caliban asks Logan to give Charles the meds all by himself since he has had a rough night, and Logan heads towards a large silo tank. Inside the tank he finds Charles talking to himself and having seizures, which cause a psionic blast that paralyzes anyone in reach. Logan struggles and manages to inject a serum to calm Charles down. He takes him to the bed, and Charles complains that Logan is waiting for him to die, and Logan leaves. He stays the night, and the following day, Caliban confronts Logan regarding Charles' medicines. He says that the dosage is too low, and it's hard for Caliban to deal with Xavier's seizures. Caliban asks Logan to talk to him about his needs, but Logan tells him to stay out of his business and storms off to pick up a client. He drops the clients at a party and soon receives another job for 2 passengers and drives to the location. He finds Gabriella and her daughter there and turns his back to them, but Gabriella offers him money to move her and her daughter to a place in North Dakota called Eden. When Logan asks Gabriella about her injuries, she tells him that her boyfriend did this to her. She's trying to escape from him and his men, asking Logan to leave to take them at the moment, which he denies. The next morning, he prepares himself for the long trip and assures Charles that he'll get the money to buy a boat and live in the ocean. When he reaches the motel, he finds Gabriella dead and her daughter Laura missing. When he checks her phone, he finds a message that she couldn't deliver in time and drives back to Charles and Caliban. When he reaches the plant, Caliban finds a bag and a ball and questions Logan about it. They are cut halfway through their conversation when Donald Pierce pulls up and asks Logan about Laura. Suddenly, Laura, who sneaked into the trunk of Logan's limo, knocks out Pierce, and Charles excitingly introduces her to Logan and Caliban. Logan tells Caliban to take Pierce out into the desert and leave him there. Caliban carts Pierce's body away, but a squad of elites from Transigen, the Reavers, arrive. They pick up Pierce after capturing Caliban and head towards Logan. As Charles tries to comfort Laura by offering her some cereal, Logan sees Pierce's men coming for them and takes Charles with him to escape, leaving behind Laura, stating that she isn't their problem to deal with. Logan and Charles fail to escape and are now surrounded by Pierce and his force. When Logan asks about Caliban, Pierce tells him that he left him where he wanted Pierce to be, which enrages Logan. He tries to fight back but is outnumbered by the soldiers and is clutched to the ground. Pierce commands one of his men to bring Laura out, and when he approaches to handcuff her, she kills him, tearing apart his head. Laura steps outside holding the man's head and throwing it in front of Pierce, making him terrified, asking his men not to anger her anymore. She then steps forward, producing 2 adamantium claws from each of her hands and 1 from each foot, and viciously attacks the Reavers. Despite their best efforts to shoot her down, Pierce tells them that she can regenerate like Wolverine himself and sends his men to capture her. Laura goes berserk and brutally kills everyone who comes in her sight. To capture her, Pierce shoots a spear gun, but Logan comes to the rescue and helps her to fight the Reavers. The 3 barely manage to escape, and Donald brings Caliban to track them down. At first, Caliban is reluctant to help Pierce, but Pierce tells him that Laura is produced by genetic mutation and tortures Caliban using sunlight. Logan finds a video of Gabriella documenting the illegal experiments that were being made in Transigen and learns that some children, including Laura, were being born and raised in the facility to produce killers and weapons. When the video shows Laura, the phone's battery dies, and Logan questions what she could be. Charles tells him that Laura is his daughter since Transigen has his genetics, but Logan rejects his ideology. Meanwhile, Laura tries to take some items from the general store, and when the clerk attempts to stop her, she lunges at him, pointing her claws at his face. Logan makes it in time and tells her that it isn't okay, and takes a phone charger and some cigars with him before leaving the store. During the night, as the phone charges, Logan watches the rest of the video. Gabriella says that the experiment was a complete failure since the children had too much emotion and didn't want to fight, and to replace them, a new weapon was made. Soon the orders were passed to kill the children, and Laura decided to transfer as many children as she could to a place called Eden, where there are many other mutants. At the end of the video, Gabriella confesses that Laura wasn't her child, but she loved her like one, stating that Logan is her biological father. Her final words to Logan are to take Laura to safety. The trio reaches Oklahoma City to rest and heads towards Eden. In the room, Logan checks Laura's bag to find some documents containing information about the children and some X-Men comic books. He assumes that Laura has been lying to them about Eden's existence and goes out to find a new ride. Later at a bar, Logan discovers that the X-Men comic that Laura possesses has coordinates to reach Eden. When he heads back to the hotel, he finds that the Reaver has followed them, and Charles has another seizure since he avoided the pills given to him. Being the only one who is partially paralyzed, Logan struggles to make it to Charles and finds Charles and Laura surrounded by Pierce's men. To his surprise, just like Logan himself, Laura is partially paralyzed by the seizures, and Logan kills all the men in the room before injecting Charles with the serum, and the seizures finally stop. The 3 then escape before Pierce could get his hands on them. On the other hand, Dr. Rice from Transigen arrives and approaches a locked Caliban. The trio is nearly run off the road by a robotic freight truck, and some horses get out from a trailer due to the same incident. Charles uses his telekinetic powers to help the horses get back into the trailer safely, and Logan offers to help to get their vehicle back on the road. The driver introduces himself as Will Munson, accompanied by his wife Catherine and son Nate. Catherine offers Logan and his family to have dinner with them, which Xavier happily accepts. They laugh about how Logan used to be a nuisance at Xavier's school, and after the dinner, Catherine asks the Howletts to stay for the night, an offer that Logan reluctantly agrees. Charles asks Logan not to be so harsh on Laura in the bathroom since she's just a kid. Seeing that their water supply has been tampered with, Will goes out to investigate, and Logan tags along after taking Charles to bed. They find and fix the obvious leak at the pump some distance away, and are confronted by a group of thugs, led by a man who owns the land. He harasses Will, saying he's been skimping on payments, but Logan hits one of the thugs in the face with his rifle and breaks it over his knee, scaring them off. In the morning, Logan comes back to Charles, and Charles tells him not to wake Laura up and let her sleep for another hour. He says that it was the perfect night that he's had in a very long time, but he doesn't deserve it since he was responsible for the incident at Westchester. Charles apologizes to Logan, but Logan pushes his claws inside Charles's chest, and Laura tries to fight him to defend Charles. The person who attacks Charles isn't Logan, but the exact clone tagged as X-24. The weapon then kills Catherine and her son and starts taking Laura with him to Dr. Rice. Logan faces him and is stunned to see a clone of himself, but he goes to look for Charles only to find him deeply wounded. As he takes Charles to his vehicle, confessing that it wasn't him, X-24 brutally murders the thugs which Logan had scared off earlier, and Dr. Rice cannot control him. Charles dies in Logan's arms, and an enraged Logan approaches the weapon to devour him. Dr. Rice calls Pierce for backup, but Caliban sets off 2 grenades to kill him along with himself. At first, Logan has the upper hand over X-24, but being genetically modified, the weapon turns the tables upon Logan, almost killing him. Suddenly, Will rams X-24 with his truck, pinning him to sharp objects. He blasts him with a shotgun and then turns the gun on Logan. The gun is out of shots and Will collapses dead. Logan retrieves Laura, takes her with Xavier's body, and drives away. The following morning, Dr. Rice and his crew take care of the scene and inject X-24 with an agent to help him heal. Logan gives Charles a proper burial as Laura, she tries to comfort him, but Logan walks back to his truck only to smash it with a shovel and then pass out on the road. Later, he wakes up in a clinic and the doctor greets him. He says he always wanted to see a mutant and suggests Logan get himself checked up as he's aware of the adamantium that's been poisoning him. But Logan disapproves and leaves with Laura. Logan thanks Laura for bringing him to the clinic and she responds in Spanish, which surprises Logan. When he asks if she can talk, Laura mutters her friends' names and shows him the comic book with the coordinates for Eden. They argue about Eden's existence, and Logan furiously agrees to drive to North Dakota to prove that Eden doesn't exist. They are on their way to North Dakota, but Logan is exhausted. Laura asks him to let her drive, but he disagrees, and Laura complains that he wants to kill himself just like Charles told her. She tells him to rest and Logan falls asleep, and Laura gets on the steering to resume their journey. They finally reach North Dakota, and a lift is provided to bring a passed-out Logan to safety. Richter, a fellow mutant, provides Logan with serum from Transigen and warns him to take small dosages to help him heal. He wakes up from a nightmare and finds Laura staring at him. Laura tells him that she has nightmares too, where people tend to hurt her, but Logan tells her that his dreams are the opposite of what she sees. Laura hands over the adamantium bullet to Logan, which he has been carrying as a reminder of what he is, but Logan says he is thinking of shooting himself with it to end his life. Logan falls asleep again, and Laura takes the bullet out of his hand. The following morning, the children prank Logan by cutting his beard, which he doesn't find funny. He reaches out to Richter and tells him to leave before the people from Transigen find them and kill them, and Richter replies that they'll be leaving before dawn. Richter offers the money to Logan as a token of appreciation for helping Laura get there, but Logan returns it, stating that the children need it. Logan tells Laura that he's done his job in delivering her to Eden and emotionally explains that everyone here cares about dies, and it's better that he leaves, but Laura bitterly responds that she should be fine then. The following day, Logan finds himself alone at the place and all the children have begun their journey to cross the border. He sees that the Reavers have caught up and picks up the healing serum to chase after them. Despite using their powers, the Reavers outnumber the children and are one by one separated from the group. The men surround Laura to detain her, but Logan comes to the rescue. The father-daughter duo manages to kill the Reavers, and Laura notices that Logan has taken the serum all at once. Dr. Rice confronts Logan and warns him not to make any fishy moves since he's holding all the children at gunpoint. He introduces himself as the scientist's son who put adamantium into Logan and was killed by the Wolverine himself. Rice admits responsibility for the extinction of mutants thanks to a virus developed by Transigen that was seeped into food supplies. Before he can continue, Logan shoots him dead in a desperate move and goes after Pierce. Pierce releases X-24 and the weapon overwhelms Logan. Laura steps in to fight for Logan, but Pierce holds Logan back using a spear gun. Seeing that Pierce is in complete control of X-24, the children gang up on him and use their collective powers to kill him. Richter uses his powers to throw a tank upon X-24, and Logan asks the children to get out of there quickly. To their surprise, X-24 is unfazed by the attacks and comes back at Logan for a second round. Logan's healing factor has failed completely, making him immune to the attacks now, and seeing this, Laura uses the adamantium bullet to shoot X-24, obliterating his head. She runs to Logan to cut down the tree where he was impaled. Logan is dying, but is happy when Laura addresses him as his father. The children mourn Logan's death and bury him. The children are now free and decide to continue their journey. Laura takes the cross on Logan's grave and tilts it sideways to look like an X. And that was my recap of the movie. I hope you enjoyed it. Now comment on what your favorite part was, and make sure to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, this has been Total Recap.